The morning sun rose gently over the hills of Nazareth, but inside Mary's heart there was a quiet sadness she could never explain. From the day the angel told her she would give birth to the Son of God, she knew her son's life would be extraordinary. Yet, every mother hopes her child will be safe, loved, and protected. Jesus grew up with kindness in his eyes and love in his heart. He helped the poor, comforted the lonely, and healed the sick. Wherever he went, people found hope. Mary watched him with pride, but she also noticed that not everyone welcomed him. Some rejected his message, and others plotted against him. One evening, as the sky turned golden, Mary prepared a simple meal. Jesus sat beside her in silence. She looked into his eyes and gently asked, "My son, why do I feel that difficult days are coming?" Jesus smiled softly and took her hand. "Mother, whatever happens, never stop believing. God's love is greater than every sorrow." Mary tried to smile, but deep inside, her heart trembled. Days later, the crowds that once praised Jesus began to turn against him. False accusations spread through the city. Soldiers arrested him in the darkness of the night. When Mary heard the news, her heart felt as though it had shattered into 1,000 pieces. She ran through the narrow streets of Jerusalem, calling his name with tears streaming down her face. "My son, Jesus!" But the soldiers pushed everyone away. The next morning, Jesus was forced to carry his heavy wooden cross. His body was wounded, his face covered with blood, and a crown of thorns rested upon his head. Mary stood among the crowd, unable to stop crying. She wanted to take his pain. She wanted to carry his cross. She wanted to protect him just as she had when he was a little child. For a brief moment, Jesus looked toward his mother. Their eyes met. No words were spoken. Only tears. Only love. Mary remembered holding him as a baby, hearing his first laugh, watching him learn to walk, and praying over him every night. Now she could do nothing except watch him suffer. As Jesus struggled beneath the weight of the cross, Mary whispered through her tears, "My son, if I could carry your pain, I would." Jesus answered with a gentle smile despite his suffering, "Mother, your love has always been my strength." Those words stayed in Mary's heart forever. Finally, Jesus reached the hill called Golgotha. The soldiers nailed him to the cross. The sound of the hammer echoed through the air. With every strike, Mary's heart broke even more. She fell to her knees, crying out to God. The sky grew dark. The wind became strong. It seemed as if all creation mourned. Standing beneath the cross, Mary never looked away. Many others fled in fear, but a mother's love never leaves. She remained beside her son until his final breath. Before he died, Jesus looked down and saw Mary standing there. Even in his pain, he thought about his mother. He made sure she would not be alone. His love for her never faded. Then Jesus spoke his final words and gave his spirit into God's hands. Silence covered the hill. Mary held back her tears no longer. She embraced the foot of the cross, knowing the greatest sacrifice had been made. For 3 long days, grief filled every moment. The disciples hid in fear. The city was quiet. Mary prayed through every tear. She remembered every promise Jesus had spoken. She believed that God would never abandon his people. Then, on the 3rd day, something wonderful happened. The stone was rolled away. The tomb was empty. Jesus had risen. Death had been defeated. When Mary heard the joyful news, tears once filled her eyes, but these were different tears. They were tears of hope, tears of victory, tears of everlasting joy. The sorrow that had broken her heart was replaced by the promise of eternal life. She knew that love had conquered death forever. From that day forward, Mary continued to encourage believers with faith and courage. Whenever someone asked her what true love looked like, she simply remembered her son. She remembered his compassion, his forgiveness, his sacrifice, and she knew that no darkness could ever overcome the light of God's love.